This is Bless Radio. It's 6 p.m. on Tuesday evening. This is the Spiritual Discussion Program. I'm Saad in Southeast London, and with me, Gregory, are you there?
Yes, I'm here in Brussels, where it's a bit warm and looks like a bright evening.
Okay, here in London, in Bromley especially, where I'm in Southeast London, right now it is overcast. It has been sunny, it has been warm as well, like you say. Also windy. It has been windy today. That was quite noticeable. So welcome listeners. As I said, this is the Spiritual Discussion Program on Tuesday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdrusheen. And we have a topic every week for discussion. The topic tonight is regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. So I'll repeat that. The topic for discussion tonight is regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments. The number to contact us on our UK number, it is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text or use WhatsApp. I'm going to begin with what is the Grail message? The Grail message in the light of truth by Abdrusheen is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover, through the intuitive perception, if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail message, Abdrusheen. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail message lives, so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic we're discussing tonight is regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. Gregory, it's quite a mouthful, the topic we are discussing tonight. I just want if I just said just regions of light and darkness, I wanted to give it a bit of context, and that's why I chose an extra bit of title, Life in the Beyond there. So when I use that word life in the beyond, Gregory, automatically it means, or it at least it's meant to imply that beyond the earthly. So we are saying these regions of light and darkness are beyond the earthly. Maybe, Gregory, we could just look at the earthly before we go there and say, are there not regions of light and darkness on this earth? They're here?
Of course, there are regions of light and regions of, also regions of darkness here on the earth. In the scenario where you have terrible wars, where there is destruction, not only of property but killing and maiming, you wouldn't call that one regions of light or areas of light. Where hatred persists, jealousy, one wouldn't call those ones that which is light. Whereas if one is listening to music, which music strengthens the individual, therein there is happiness. And one would say that is a scenario or a region where there is light.
Thank you for that. And so in our topic, we are discussing regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. That's what you've chosen for tonight. So let's talk, first of all, Gregory, the beyond. Where is the beyond, or what is the beyond?
Well, the question, what is the beyond, can be easily described or defined. Here on earth, we have our sense of perceptions, the 5 sense of perceptions, which are tied to the physical body, which physical body we use for experiencing. When the beyond is mentioned, there the earthly instrument, which is the earthly body which we use here on earth, is absent. So whenever that's noun, beyond is mentioned, then it is the human personality without the physical body, that is the human personality that has not got the sense of perception which the physical body provides.
Thank you for that. So So when we are just talking about the beyond here, then it's basically when you are without the physical body. So can I just check, Gregory, when you say we are without the physical body, can that be on the earth? Because when we die, are we still on this earth? We just don't wear. I don't want to get into this immediately. Yes, now, but let's say some people, let's say there are some something called ghosts, and which we do see or hear about on the earth, the vision of a ghost on the earth, and that is, first of all, sorry, there's so many points. I'm just trying to make sure I keep it simple and clear. So yes, would you say the ghosts, or when we die, Gregory, when we lose our body, physical body, are we still on this earth in some way? Let me start with that first. Are we still part of partially on this earth still? Or where do we go when we die?
The process of death, or death itself, is a process where actually loses these earthly senses of perception. So it takes some time for the occupant of the physical body to depart. So at the immediate, or at the time of departure, it severs itself, but gradually, and as it severs itself away from the physical body, because the vibrations of the physical body does not resonate with the vibrations of the soul. Because that resonance is not there, there is a quiet severance of separation. And in that process, there is gradual moving off. It takes some time, which varies from one person to the other, such that you will find there are some whose soul are still around the physical body, depending on its weaknesses or its strength for some time. However, over time, the severance is complete, and depending on the tendencies, what the human spirit had experienced intuitively and has then formed an inner attitude. If that inner attitude is for those things which are of the earth, then it is dragged, or it remains in the neighborhood of the earth, but it has not got the physical body now to experience. If the inner attitude is not of the things of the earth, then it is drawn away to those areas where there is homogeneity for its further activities.
Thank you for that answer, Gregory. I just want to clarify a little bit more what you have just said there. You used the word occupant, you used the word soul, you used the word also human spirit. I just want to clarify, the process of death, in the process of death, the occupant is the spirit that is leaving the body or the soul.
When these discussions come about, one uses the immediate. When one says immediate, one should consider very carefully that there is the physical body, And this physical body is what the occupant, the ones who owns, who uses this physical body, who took possession of this physical body at the time of incarnation. The time of incarnation is the time is at the middle of pregnancy, where the first kicks are registered within the expectant mother. That is the time in which the potential occupant or the potential personality that wishes to use the physical body, steps in. And at that time, the physical body keeps growing until birth. At birth, we now have what one refer to as the human baby, which baby is the human soul. The core of the human soul is of spirit. And on that point, the human personality, of which the human personality that has taken possession of this body starts adjusting itself to the processes of the physical body. It has to learn to use the physical body in the right way. First, it was lying down. As time goes on, it lies on its belly. Then it learns to sit, because it takes time to adjust itself to the physical body. Once it can sit, meanwhile, it's learned to eat the food provided for its growth, and then hopefully learns to stand and start walking and start running and playing around, and then so on and so forth. And that is the gradual, procession that it goes. Because it came to this earth and it required an instrument, which instrument, as is being prepared by the mother, the expectant mother, it needs to know how to use this physical body as at the time it leaves the mother's womb. And that takes some time. However, anyone who is permitted to use the physical material body will understand that a cycle has been initiated. The physical body is transient, and therefore all those who have been born will go through like a seed which is planted in creation, in nature. We go through that cycle until the physical body then, along the line, it could be 5, 10, 20, 100 or more than that years, it comes to a time when the vibrations of the occupant and the vibrations of the physical body do no more, they don't resonate anymore. At that point, however, what came in initially at birth was the human soul, the inner core, which is of spirit. And at that point of departure, again, the human soul is severed from the physical body. This is a process. So that is what happens.
Thank you for that explanation, Gregory. I'm trying to, we have talked already just at the beginning that there's regions of light and darkness on this earth and also in the beyond. But in the earth we have our physical body, and then in the beyond we lose the physical body, or lose it in the earth and then enter the beyond, without the physical body, obviously. So what I want to know there, Gregory, is maybe it's a bit premature to ask this question immediately, but let's see. Okay, Gregory, what the way a human being acts on the earth and the way the human being acts in the beyond, what are the differences there? Yeah. On the earth you have a body, and in the beyond you don't have the body. So what is the activity, or what's the difference between what's the activity on this earth and the activity in the beyond?
Quite simply, like you have rightly observed, here on earth, the human personality, which is the in quotes, the owner of the physical body, uses the capability of the physical body to experience, to gather impressions, to gather outward impressions, to send out impressions also to the outside. And in that process, we now have that whilst here on earth, the physical body needs to be fed. So it takes in food that of physical. It breathes in. It uses the five senses. It has the brain, which it uses to collect information before it is passed on further to the back brain, and then one way or the other to the soul, and then finally to the inner core, which is the human spirit. It uses the capacities of the physical body for its activities here on earth, whilst it's using the physical body. Once there is that severance, the physical body is no more available. And therefore, what is now available to it is the outer covering of the human spirit. That outer covering, that outer shell, will be referred to as the soul. And it uses its intuitive perception as the instrument for further experiencing. So, whilst it has lost its physical body, if its inner tendencies are those of noble activities, in all naturalness, it is attracted to where there are noble activities, upbuilding activities. However, it does not require physical food, because that physical food, or all those nutrients that are necessary for the physical body, are earthly. On the other hand, if, however, it still feels drawn to the earthly, then The scenarios then exist where being drawn to the earthly due to one thing or the other, it could be its likes or is drawn to those who smoke or those who drink to excess, then it is attracted to such neighborhoods where it can sense the feelings of those who enjoy such things and hangs around. Therefore, in a natural fact, human personalities on earth are never alone. There are all others that are observing and wish to partake for one reason or the other in their activities, either in supporting or not supporting. Supporting in the sense, if they are drawn to that which is noble, then noble personalities will be drawn towards them to advise them and or to contribute to their activities by suggestions. These are what contributes to one's conscience when someone is reflecting quietly. If, however, they are drawn to destruction, then there are also human personalities who, due to their predilection, are so motivated to go about with destruction. And those ones are drawn to such characteristics. So the nature of what happens depends first and foremost on the inner personality of the departing one.
Thank you for that, Gregory. There's a couple of questions I want to put now. The first one I would like to ask now is, Gregory, what happens to people, of different beliefs or different thinking? For example, Gregory, if those who don't believe there's life after death, and then they, go through this process of entering the beyond, or do they get to enter the beyond, or do they get stuck somewhere? And then others who do believe in life after death because of religion or whatever reason, are they more, because you have said already, Gregory, that every personality is like, you could say their journey is individual, you could say it's an individual journey according to how they are. That's how what happens to them in the beyond is according to how they are here, you can say. So my question is, Gregory, those who do believe in life after death, is their journey, how does their journey go compared to those who do not believe in life after death?
The question as such has to be looked at with the facts rather than with belief. Because many believe, but it's not something firm. They don't have a conviction. Some are so afraid when the beyond is discussed. And although they speak of it, when evidence of unearthly manifestations occur, they are afraid and they have doubts. So yes, it's good to have some belief as the first step. Belief does not give that firm foundation. Only through rigorous experiences, through silent observations, through one's intuition, which intuition manifests only from the activities of the human personality, which is of spirit. So, for one who believes whilst on earth, and such a belief has an impact on one's intuition, then it's an experience, which experience will help to sort of to color the environment, its personal environment, its immediate personal environment, such that it's able to perceive through that environment that it has created for itself through its activities. That becomes firm. For others who merely believes, but they do not have that, or their belief has no impact on their personal intuition, which intuition is what the spirit uses in forming its immediate inner environment, then it is very weak. That experience of their inner environment is very weak and is close to those who have no belief at all. But it becomes clear, having lost control, the use of the physical body, many are then surprised that they have not ceased to exist. But they do realize, just as we have in a dream, but there is no human personality who has never had a dream whilst here on earth. They do then realize that the physical body lays prostrate. They are unable to make use of it because the physical body, that which needs to activate it such that it can resonate with the human soul, that's now there is a barrier and it cannot be breached. The physical body has then lost that ability to resonate with the human spirit. What then happens? That particular personality, because whilst here on earth, it never really practiced the use of its personal intuition. It's as if it's unable to communicate with the outside world of its immediate environment. It's as if it is deaf and dumb and blind, for it has not used its intuition whilst here on earth. It might remain in that state for a while, depending on its inner attitude. For many, they cry out for help is enough. Enough in the sense that now they realize the first lesson, that the physical body they have lost. However, they are still alive. That lesson registers very severely on the personality. And in that state, many do cry out for help. And in that state, there are many other human personalities who are always nearby, prepared to help. But there must be a request for help. And then that personality can be helped gradually to come to better recognition. And that is why it is very important, whilst here on earth, the human personality must first harbor good volition, must also strive to reflect on those things which are of noble qualities, and must also start preparing himself or herself in such a way that when the physical body lays prostrate, it has built enough around its immediate environment that kindred personalities, kindred souls will be around to assist the human personality for its further experiencing.
Thank you for that answer, Gregory. Dear listeners, I want to remind you, listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abrushin. If you are interested in knowing more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. And we are discussing the topic regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. Regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. You can contact us with any questions or comments. The number to contact us on our UK number, it is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we're broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. Bless Radio 1, again the number 1.com. Also, we're broadcasting on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1 there, space live stream. You can also listen to the recording of the show the next day. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1, space Grail message, and then the title of the show, or the topic of the show, which tonight is Regions of Light and Darkness, Life in the Beyond. Gregory, there's been big news, since last weekend, where the UK Member of Parliament called Sir David Amess, who was killed in his doing his local surgery in Southend, that is in southeast England, and he seemed to be an exemplary MP, very amiable person, and dedicated to his local people, to represent them and do whatever he could do to support them. And it seemed, but we didn't seem to know much about him until his unfortunate death. But everything that has been said by the people who met him and worked with him has been very, positive attitude, very kind, noble. He's, Roman Catholic and, very, let's say, devout person. So it's like a very good character, and of course, what has happened is a very, very terrible event, and it's like a contradiction of the personality he is. But I don't want to go into that at this moment, about this in this program there. What I wanted to go ask about Gregory, now that he has died, so he would have entered the beyond. I'm assuming at least he's on the journey into the beyond. So what I want to ask Gregory, if somebody has done so much good, and I mean, even we hear that he always, whenever he met somebody, he was like always friendly and asking how they're doing, and really very uplifting in every way, basically. And assuming all these reports are accurate, and that's the character that he was, and the personality he was, how would be his journey, Gregory, into the beyond? Would he be helped, somehow, and where would he be led to?
Well, in the first instance, we wish the departing personality well, and we wish him strongly heavenly guidance. There has always been help, and help is always available. Like you mentioned, the reports from people, that is the reports from people. If in accordance with the laws of creation, the laws of nature through which he himself came into existence, the laws of nature through which this physical body was granted to him to experience whilst on earth. If in accordance with these laws, he has built an inner attitude, an inner environment, which environment is of lightness, which harmonizes with that which is noble. Noble in accordance with the laws of nature, then many of similar or many of homogeneous tendencies will always be around, are always around, to assist him in the transition from that particular moment to other. So it is the human personality through their activities that they prepare for themselves the neighborhood, the realm that they need to be in, just as they were before they took possession of the growing fetus in their mother's womb. They were somewhere initially, and they approached growing body, and this growing body or this approach did not come arbitrarily. This approach came in accordance with the laws of creation or the laws of nature. The human personality is only granted the opportunity to refine itself to nobler causes. As long as it has prepared that environment, that suffices to pull him upwards and to ensure that he meets kindred personalities, kindred souls, who harbor that which is more noble. So, what human beings say is what human beings say. That is their own judgment. But what counts is what you yourself has sown. As the man himself has sown, whether it had sown crops or seeds of nobleness, or seeds of envy, or seeds of hatred, then without doubt, or without the shadow of doubt, that is what it will reap. Sown in the sense that this impacted on one's intuition. Not the case where one says one thing and does another. That has never been the case. The laws of creation ensure that each personality reaps what they themselves have put in creation and have nurtured in creation, or continue to nurture in creation. So it becomes quite clear when the human personality drops the physical body, he or she is then attracted to the realm or to the neighborhood where homogeneity is the key, where they will have to now experience.
Thank you for that, Gregory. I also want to, again, I don't want to use the word, but I will say comparison, of what happens on the earth and what happens on the beyond. So, you say, what we sow, we shall reap. Does it, in the beyond, does what you sow, what you reap there, does it act more, let's say, markedly, strongly than what happens on this earth? Because, the justice, I know there's two things here. There's the justice, let's say, from the laws of nature, action and reaction there, and then there's the human justice. We know the human justice doesn't really always give real justice. Let's call it natural justice. But when we go into the beyond, there are not human judges over there. So what I want to ask Gregory, does the laws, do the laws of nature, are they more strong in their actions and reactions in the beyond than what happens on this earth?
The laws of nature or the laws of creation, they are ubiquitous. Like has been discussed, motion is a law in nature. Motion is a law in creation. Two types of motion. The translational, which is movement from one place to the other, and the vibrational. This vibrational motion is the basis for all reciprocal activities. So, if in your activities your vibration is such that it ensures that which is noble is put out in creation, then in accordance with this same law, with the law in creation, nobleness will bring forth nobleness. That is justice. And therefore, we find it is incorruptible. We do not expect to sow maize, and then when it's time to reap, you reap sand. It doesn't happen that way. Therefore, there's of the same, something of the same kind. That itself, the law of reciprocity, where things resonate. For things to resonate, then you must have similar or near the same vibrations. That is where things do resonate of two different areas. And therefore, as the man or as the personality has given out from deep within himself, that which we then approach him is of homogeneous nature. That is the justice one is talking about. Not that another personality will sit out there and be meeting out what you have here on earth. There is no need for any judge for what happens or the operations in nature, the operations in creation are such that your inner attitude directs you to where you yourself have pointed it to. Then, whatever lays on that path, you have given rise to it, in the sense you have wished to follow that path, and therefore you have to experience it. Therein lies the justice.
Thank you for that answer, Gregory. You know why I'm saying that? I mean, you have distinguished clearly, Gregory, that there's the human, you could say, system of justice, and then there's the natural laws which act in all, on the earth and in the beyond. So, and they're obviously independent of the human system of justice. So, let's say the natural justice is always taking its course. And I mean, just going back to this example of this Sir David Amess MP who was, killed on Friday, and people are wondering how it could have happened. Nobody can work out what he did to deserve what happened to him. There's a general talk of what is happening online with social media, with abuse, terrible language being used against people in public figures, basically in general, and women are getting the brunt of it in a more severe way than even the other men in this situation. But here, it's got completely to an extreme level, even though I must say, none of that has been shown to be the case, because the early days in this, you could say, investigation of this killing, what actually has happened, but people are trying to make their own assessments and try to understand what has happened, because one thing, Gregory, everybody, whenever something happens, injustice happens, there's always the person who is the victim of that so-called injustice, who seems, you wonder, well, how could it happen to this person when nothing on the surface is clearly he has done to deserve that? So then we're coming up with different ideas, or this could have been the cause, or that could have been the cause. And I would say it's all guesswork at the end of the day, rather than real understanding or knowledge. So, but one thing, Gregory, what I'm pointing to, Gregory, is everybody within themselves thinks this can't happen without a just reason for it. Nothing can happen without a just reason. It's like just exactly as we have said many times, what you sow you shall reap. But nobody can see what was sown to deserve this reaping that happened in this case, you can say. And of course there are many such not only deaths, rapes, and many other terrible, you could say, crimes, where we never seem to know the cause that led to that result, you can say. So, people just wondering what's actually behind it. So, I know we're slightly deviating from the topic of the beyond, but it's just my query really here is when something, let's say, terrible happens, can we know why it happened? Gregory?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you, yes.
When something terrible, like you mentioned, happens, can we know why it happened? Of course we can know why it happened. For a personality who is very intuitive, which intuition grants a more comprehensive picture. Because the intuition grants a more comprehensive picture, the picture which is then built from such gives a more better impression to judge from. Here on earth, what one sees is the final earthly manifestation, whereas the source, the beginning of the returns, and what must have triggered all this, one is unable intellectually to come to a conclusion. So earthly observations are only partial. They never can give you the real picture or the complete picture. And therefore, when one makes conclusion, when one uses his or her conclusion on what has been experienced, what has been seen externally, then a better picture or a more comprehensive explanation cannot be given. It may be that could be what he himself as a personality needed. But that does not exonerate that personality who precipitated, who carried it out. In creation, in the law of reciprocity, there is always a beginning. It could be, in this particular case, this gentleman who carried it out has just set off the mechanism which will return to this personality, something which one cannot even predict. So there must be a beginning. It could also be that that person who had been murdered, it could be that there have been some returns, which returns would have been more terrible, but in his or her activities have been going on in such a way as to prepare his inner environment or his immediate environment to be much brighter. And what then has happened from this other intruder, all right, forced him to depart the earth. There are many scenarios one can paint, but one thing stands out. Only through the laws of creation, only through that lens can one pass an inner judgment on what has happened. So, it doesn't mean that he himself, who had just been murdered, is a bad personality. Far from it. There are scenarios where people take upon themselves to go to certain communities in order, through their work, to be of help to these communities. In that particular scenario, the risks are well known to the personality. However, the personality takes it as a mission to be able to be of assistance to the people in a certain community in order to help them. So once this happens, that person has already agreed to take the risks. So seeing from other sides, it's as if he has sown, he has made a decision, he has taken these risks, and that in his activities, he will do the best he can. That happened in the case of Christ. And there are many more others. For here on earth, that which is noble and that which is ignoble still live side by side. So on earth, you don't have to do anything wrong before somebody hates you. It could be that men looking at you and seeing, then realizing their inability to do the much you are doing, that now arouses envy, arouses hatred, and therefore they throw stones at you. That does not mean that you yourself have done something wrong to them, but they have set in motion that which they themselves will have to pay for here or hereafter. So a comprehensive picture provided through one's intuition is what gives a proper picture through which one can reflect. But one thing will be very clear to many: human opinions always provide a distorted picture, depending on the person from which that opinion arose. The best one can do for a human personality departing is to send them good thoughts, pure thoughts, uplifting thoughts, which they themselves, because they are still nearest to the earthly environment, can still perceive. For before long, they are drawn away from the earthly environment, and such severance is complete, and they become oblivious of the experiences here on earth, unless, however, there is some thread which they themselves have sown, which does not allow them to sever themselves and move forward. Such threads which hold the human personality back, or the human soul back, from time to time, they are able to influence or to make themselves perceptible through knockings, through some behavior, through the behavior that is unpleasant to many. But this is another discussion, a different time.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for your answer. You have given a picture where, you already pointed to that what we see on the surface is not the whole picture, and there's could be many, many explanations of why, in quotes, somebody who might look innocent suffers, or he is innocent even, let's say, and he suffers, a terrible treatment, and because good and evil are sitting by side or walking side by side on this earth. So, there's always that potential for that evil to take place, not because the person deserved the evil on him, but he was, it can happen. So, and of course, it could be other things going on as well. So thank you for that, building this picture, with many potential possibilities of why something can happen. Dear listeners, you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdushin. If you would like to know more about the Grail message or would like to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. Regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. You can contact us on our UK number with any questions or comments. The number to contact us is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we're broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. Also on YouTube.com. Go to type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1, space live stream. That's to listen to the live show. You can listen to the recording of the show the next day. Again, go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, the number 1, space Grail message, and space the topic of the show, which tonight is regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. Now, Gregory, we've talked about the laws working in, always within the, on this earth and in the beyond, and that's independent of human activity or human justice system. And also, Gregory, you've highlighted quite a number of times now about the intuition being vital in not only in our actions, you could say, materializing with their consequences, but also with the, being sensitive to the situation that we are in. That's the real tool that we have. But it does seem, as you already pointed to my previous answer there, that when we have discussions, just the one that we just talked about now with the MP Sir David Amess's death, people are making conjectures and all these things, but that is all, you could say, human thinking rather than any intuitive sensing. And from what you told us, Gregory, earlier, it is only the intuitive activity that really has the real impact in our life, with our, you could say, what happens in the beyond or even here on this earth. So how do we, Gregory, sharpen this intuition? We do, it always seems to be momentary, that in some moments that we are awakened to it, but most of the time we seem to be, let's say, not really applying this intuition, or not even applying it, I would say. So, otherwise all these questions that I've been asking, maybe 99% we wouldn't have to ask them anymore, because we would have the answer. So what can we do, Gregory, to, to, let's say, make our intuition work, use our intuition properly, let's say?
For one to use one's intuition properly, then one needs to know what intuition is. Maybe a better picture would now give one the possibility to recognize. Use the word recognize because there is the cognition. Cognition has to do with what exists, the facts that exist. Recognition is to have a deeper, comprehensive picture of why the facts exist and how the facts exist. Above all, there are the connections that lead to the manifestation of a fact that has occurred. It is the task of the human personality to follow these connections. A simple example one may give is here we are using the language for communication. What is a language? Language basically is referred to as structured communication, not unstructured. So when that word language is used, language itself has its vernacular. By vernacular, when you are born, the first language which you learn is that language which is closest to you, to those whom you interact with, before you know how to frame the structure to communicate, which is exchange. It has always been the case. The little things that lead to big things need to be followed. In the example I wish to give, there is a picture which is accompanied by the language, a picture which is triggered by whatever language we speak, just as you and I are speaking. In this particular case, in the initial discussion, you said spiritual knowledge. You did not say gross material knowledge. The question is, what picture do many pick when the word spiritual is used? So, picture is what one stresses on. So in the work which form the basis of our discussion, of our language, the author makes it very clear. At the beginning, it says, in the light of truth. From this very simple expression, there is light and there is truth. One should have a picture of what light is and a picture of what truth is. Light, which sort of shines in a place and gives clarity. Light gives a better picture than we will consider of relative darkness. Light is substance. Light is substance which is required to form structures. And on the other hand, there is truth. What is truth? So these are the things which the human personality needs to know about the intuition. The intuition gives a more comprehensive picture, and to a large extent, true practice gives, for those who really rely on it, gives a stronger impression of the motive. But the intuition is an impression, something which impresses. And therefore, there must be like a motive force, albeit gentle. Only through practice, silently, will one come to a better understanding, like light is being thrown on whatever activity one is engaged in, that which is intuitive, which gives better clarity, and that which is less intuitive, which gives lesser clarity. Through practice, man is now able to find his way. That is what life is about. Continuous improvement. So, whether one is struck by happiness, whether one is struck by that which is pleasant, what motive? What does one learn from it? Whether one is struck by that which is not so pleasant, what does one learn from it? Both that which is pleasant and that which is unpleasant strikes, impresses through the instruments which man has, the five senses, which then registers on the brain and to the back brain and straight to the spirit, such that the human personality can make use of these impressions as experiences which it holds, such that it becomes more alert, it becomes more vigilant. So that which has struck one, which is seen by others, has been painful, then forces the human personality to become more vigilant. That is the key. And that is why the human personality must have a more rounded, all-inclusive picture. That vigilance of the human personality in spirit and vigilance of the intellect. With both of them combined, then that which strikes the human personality when mere observing what is happening in another country, although it hasn't happened to you, but you dip yourself into that particular country and it now elicits to open up, send them good thoughts. In such a way you prepare an environment which becomes finer and finer, and the intuition from within impresses clearer and clearer. Having experienced it, many a question will cease because you already know. So the challenge has always been, many have not experienced it because they haven't made the effort or they have not been vigilant enough. And therefore, when they see many undergoing challenges in a different place, they absorb themselves away from it. They do not try to put themselves, like Christ has said, love thy neighbor as thyself. Had they done that, then their intuition would have brightened out in such a way that they are fully now prepared to encounter whatever challenges come their path. And then they will know that on earth, that which is earthly and that which is not earthly need to go hand in hand in vigilance. Then the occurrences, like you mentioned, of the case of an MP in the UK, with the right vigilance, not only vigilance by the personality, but vigilance by the state, vigilance by the community, not taking things for granted, then the lessons would have been learned. That is the key. And that is what one, in a comprehensive way, the human personality should take away in, or take in through the impressions that have come from that particular experience.
Thank you for that picture and explanation, Gregory. I now want to go back to the main topic for tonight, which is regions of light and darkness. And in this, I would like to ask Gregory on that is, so we, people do say, we build our own fate, or we build our own future. And so this regions of light and darkness, are we building that, so our path, you could say our journey, when we pass over into the beyond, are we creating those regions of light or darkness? Yes, are we producing that, or those regions already exist before that, and we just enter them according to our let's say activities?
First, again an overarching picture must be presented that the human personality did not create itself. The human personality, which is referred to as the human spirit, started from somewhere. The human spirit is dependent on the power which streams through creation. Before the human personality came into existence, creation itself had already come into existence. And it's a product of this creation. Therefore, there had already existed a structure in creation preceding it coming into existence as a human spirit. Therefore, one cannot say that it, the human personality who is dependent on the power that has existed in creation, that it created these regions of light. However, it is able to influence through its activity its own neighborhood, its immediate surrounding. For the human personality, it's not the only one. There are many. After all, you are there are listeners, here I am, and there are countless others who have incarnated here on earth, countless others who are still making preparations to incarnate, and very many others who have incarnated on earth before and are striving to find their way to the origin from whence they started. Within the structure of creation, the highest is closest to that which already existed, which has no beginning and has no end. For it has always been there. And when creation came into existence, because it came into existence, that already gives a strong impression that it is finite. And it is such that there must be a structure for anything that exists in creation must have a structure in accordance with the laws that have been placed in creation. Which laws are those of movement, laws of motion. At the highest parts, there is the spiritual. And at the lowest parts, where the movement is not as fast, here we are in the world of matter. For the movements or the motion of the individual parts in the world of matter is not as fast as that which is in the highest part. And that is why it is called the world of matter. The world of matter in which the human personality has sunk in order gradually to build itself to have a permanent structure from an unconscious spirit germ or an unconscious spirit seed to a self-conscious personality. That particular realm is such that the human personality has to grow step by step. In that particular realm in which we all are, the possibility is there to make errors and to make corrections. Because, like a child, it is learning. If, however, it makes errors and is granted the opportunity to make corrections, yet it refuses, it harms not only itself, but others who, like him or like her, are striving to improve themselves to move from that state of being a spirit seed germ, from that unconscious state to that state of self-consciousness. If in the process of doing that, they inflict harm on their neighbors who are also struggling, then it's as if they have tied a knot, which in all naturalness, they need to do something to help their neighbor who they have harmed in such a way that they will be helpful to their neighbors. Just as if their neighbor had tied a knot with them, which would drag them down, it would be right for their neighbor to find a way of redeeming themselves by severing that knot through good volition. There are some who, in spite of these opportunities, have not done so. And in all naturalness, those of like volitions, those of homogeneous volitions, they gather, they assemble to experience through themselves. Those who like to help one another, they come together to support one another like a team. Those, however, who have evil volition, how would they know that their volitions are evil if they do not experience it on themselves, being impacted by others? So, those of similar nature assemble and through their activities inflict such painful experience on one another that they then mature. But there are still some who refuse to go that way. And in this particular realm, where they inflict such terrible pain upon themselves and one another, that particular scenario, that particular realm may be referred to as hell. There are pockets, so it's not just in one place. We may have a pocket where jealousy is predominant, We may have another pocket where wickedness is predominant. We may have another pocket where arson, those who like to commit arson, is predominant. However, in experiencing this, some will find it nauseous and will move away from it. That means improvement on their inner self, and they gradually will be led away. So hell, the regions of darkness exist. It is worse than has been discussed right now. On the other hand, there is the region of lightness, where those who, in obedience to the laws of creation, are of help, are of value, not only to themselves, but also their neighbors, to their fellow human spirits, and also the other beings who are responsible for the maintenance of the structures in creation, these nature beings. When one is in such a state that is of help, is of upbuilding, then such a personality improves itself through its inner attitude, is drawn to where more help is granted and improves itself. Those areas one may refer to as areas of light. For their harmony persists, light-heartedness exists, support exists. All that the human virtues may consider exists. Whereas the lack of those human virtues is what you find being exhibited in the dark regions. More of this can be found in the walk, in the light of truth, the Grail message.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for this explanation and the picture that you built there. I've got more to ask on it, but before I do, I just want to tell the listeners you're listening to Bless Radio. It's the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abrushing. And if you are wishing to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, you can go to the website, www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. And as I said, you're listening to Bless Radio, which is broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, the number 1.com. Also, we are on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, again, the number 1, space, live stream. Also, you can listen to the recording of the show the next day. Go again to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, the number 1, space, live stream. Sorry, not live stream. It's a Bless Radio 1 and then Grail message and then space, the topic of the show, which tonight is regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. If you would like to ask any questions or comments on tonight's topic, as I said, it's regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. You can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 00447939641958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Now, Gregory, you mentioned in your answer, the last question, you mentioned hell, and you also mentioned that that people can learn, or you could say, yes, improve themselves in this regions of darkness. When they're going through the, let's say, I was going to say the word payback somehow, when they're going through the consequences of their actions and activities. What puzzled me there, Gregory, is the understanding, the normal thinking of the hell is eternal. So the punishment is like forever. That you can't recover basically from your sins that you've committed. But what you was pointing to in your answer, Gregory, is that there is ways to, turn the situation around and, to recover and, improve yourself, sort of come out of, in quotes, hell. So I just want to check that. Is the hell not eternal? Is the punishment not, I use the word punishment in quotes, which is really the consequences of our actions, let's say our evil actions, resulting in obviously the evil suffering, you can call it, the consequence of that, in this regions of darkness, as we've also called it. So is not the suffering, if I can say, Gregory, of the of the consequences of evil, is that not eternal, that you pay for it eternally?
Is hell not eternal?
Yes.
Maybe that should clarify. What is eternal is what existed before creation came into existence. And also, that is as a consequence of the continuous maintenance of the structure which is referred to as creation. That is eternal. What hell is a product of human activities that have grown dense in such a way that many have to suffer in that particular realm. It is the human personality that supplies the fuel for the continuity of that hell. The human personality relies on the power of the Almighty. The human personality is only granted the opportunity to come into existence, to mature, and to go back home either as a self-conscious human personality or goes back as an unconscious human seed or unconscious spiritual seed, not even human. Therefore, it is finite. it is not eternal. For hell, the fuel is supplied through the activities of the human personality. And once the human personality then ceases to exist in that particular region, there is no more fuel for it. So there is no more fuel for the perpetuity. How can it then be eternal? So hell is not eternal, but gladness, beauty, in accordance with laws of creation, where that which resonates with the all-building, that is permitted to be eternal. So hell is not eternal.
Thank you, Gregory, for this answer. I will say it is probably a big surprise for many to hear that that hell is not eternal. But how you've answered it is very clear. The structure or the maybe not. I shouldn't add any further because your answer said everything there. So let me not add any more to that. So Gregory, we've talked about these regions of light and regions of darkness. Is there like a ruler? We haven't mentioned the Almighty, the Creator, and the devil. Many times, again, these things are brought up that, in this, we haven't mentioned it here. So I just want to check, is the regions of darkness, is that somehow ruled or run by the devil, Lucifer? Sometimes we call him Lucifer. And the region of light is run by the Almighty. Is that how it is? And can you look at answer that?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, go ahead. Did you hear the question?
One should hold one's breath a bit and reflect. What gives life to creation is the power that streams through creation. That which is alive needs the power. Which power pulsates through creation? Pulsation already grants the picture. For when you look at it very carefully, that which is eternal, which streams, which existed before creation, that one exists forever and forever. That which is evil, which has now taken form, did not take form in that which is eternal, of which is divine. That took on form, took on structure in the world of matter, the world of matter which is temporal. This world of matter, which is temporal, still requires structures It requires substantiality. Without substantiality, forms cannot be created. So, the so-called dark regions are still of substances. However, the difference is that caricatures had been formed, which caricatures resemble that which is of the higher realms. These caricatures, which only exist in the world of matter, which world of matter is temporal, only means this world of darkness is temporal. The world of matter, which is temporal, and a little section of it which is of dark motives, is also temporal. And whoever stands behind this area in the world of matter, whoever has tempted the human personality, also knows that this world of matter is temporal, and that the human spirit has a set time in order to mature. And therefore, it tries to distract the human personality from achieving that of its deeper longing. The temporal nature of the world of matter only means that there will then come a time when the world of matter will have to go back to its primeval state, in which the possibility is no more there for the human spirit to experience in that particular region. Once the human spirit is not present in that particular region, who is the tempter going to now tempt once that region is not been made ready for the human spirit or for the human spirit germ to incarnate and mature? None, because there will be none in that area. Therefore, it will be wrong to say that whoever is in that region of darkness, that on the one hand we have in the regions of light the ruler, the Almighty, and in the regions of darkness the ruler is Lucifer. Why would it be wrong to say that? Because the power that streams comes from the Almighty. There is just one power. So even the activities of, or the activities that exist in this realm of darkness, still require the power that streams from on high, only that those creatures in that realm have only turned this power, which is to be of value for their maturity, in the wrong direction. So one cannot say they rule. If strictly they wanted to rule, they have ruled themselves away from such caricatures which they themselves have now put in that particular realm. So it will form a wrong notion to say, on the one hand, we have the Almighty, through whom power, substantiality, and will come. And on the other hand, we have Lucifer and his henchmen. Lucifer and the henchmen that follow him, and there are many, also are dependent on this power, on substantiality. But they have not acted in accordance with the will of the Almighty that has been placed in creation. Herein lies the difference.
Thank you, Gregory, for this picture that you have painted. We've come to the end of the show tonight, and I'd like to read from the Grail message, as I do quite often, from the foreword of the Grail message, which is titled, "For Your Guidance." The bandage falls, and belief becomes conviction. Liberation and redemption lie only in conviction. I am addressing earnest seekers only. They must be able and willing to examine this matter objectively. Religious fanatics and irresponsible enthusiasts may hold aloof, for they are detrimental to the truth. As for the malevolent and prejudiced, they shall find their sentence in the very words. The message will strike only those who still carry within them a spark of truth and the yearning to be true human beings. To all such it will become the shining light and staff. It will lead them unswervingly out of all the chaos of the present-day confusion. The following word does not bring a new religion, but is intended as the torch to help all serious listeners or readers find the right path, which leads them to the longed-for height. Only he who bestirs himself can advance spiritually. The fool who uses extraneous aids for this, in the form of the ready-made opinions of others, only walks his path as if on crutches, while ignoring his own healthy limbs. But the moment he boldly uses all the abilities which lie dormant within him, awaiting his call to help in his ascent, he is employing the talent entrusted to him in accordance with his Creator's will, and will easily overcome all obstacles that seek to divert him. Therefore, awake. Genuine faith lies only in conviction, and conviction comes solely through an inflexible weighing and examining. See that you're truly alive in the wonderful creation of your God, Abtrushin. Gregory, would you like to say anything to the listeners to say goodbye?
Strictly, there are no goodbyes, but we wish them well in the everyday activities, and we wish them a very fruitful week.
Thanks for that. Dear listeners, just to remind you, if you want to pick up the Grail message for yourself or get some information on the Grail message, you can go to this website, which is www.untitled www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we talked about tonight, regions of light and darkness, life in the beyond. There are a couple of lectures which are in the Grail message. Well, there are many, many lectures actually, but a couple of them which are connected to the title tonight is one of them is called Region of Darkness and Damnation, and the other one is called Regions of Light and Paradise. But we always advise to read the Grail message in sequence, not jump in between. So just to say that knowledge is there for everyone, whoever wishes to investigate and explore. I wish you all a great week. God bless. Take care. We'll be back next Tuesday as usual, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time with another topic. All the best. God bless.